الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وعلى أصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Our lesson basically today will be about Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, or Fiqh maxims, Fiqh principles, those foundational laws which are existing in the Islamic Fiqh or in the Islamic legislations, based on which many different issues could be sorted out, solved based on those foundational matters. These foundational matters are called as Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya. There's another thing which is called as Usul al-Fiqh. There are two matters which are closely related. One may mix up between these two things. The first is Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, which we are intending to speak about, and the second is Usul al-Fiqh. Usul al-Fiqh stands for the sources from which you deduce laws. The first source is Quran. You deduce laws from Quran. The second source is Sunnah. You go and deduce laws from authentic Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him. The third source is Ijma'. According to Sunni Muslims, Ijma' is a source from which you go and deduce laws. And then comes the Qiyas. Qiyas is also, according to the majority of the Sunni Muslims, except the Zahiriyya, Qiyas is considered to be one of the sources from which you go and deduce laws. Qiyas means reasoning. Issues in which there is no verdict or no clarification from the Prophet, peace be upon him, which are considered to be no issues. For these issues you do what? You find something which was existing in the time of the Prophet and find out a similarity between that thing, that old matter about which the Prophet made a judgment, and find that similarity and see whether that thing, that cause of effect is found in the issue into which you are looking, the newly issue. There's that similarity, and the similarity is existing, which they call illah. So if that illah is existing, you rule them in the same way. So this is qiyas, this is reasoning, for which Abu Hanifa is very famous. The Hanafi school of thought is very famous. In fact, they call them the school of thought of qiyas and rai and so on. So this is usul al-fiqh. But what we are speaking about is about Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya. What is Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya? Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya are foundational laws which are deduced from a set of fiqh issues. We have a set of fiqh issues in which there is something similar in all these fiqh issues. So we'll derive a law based on those similarities which are found in a set of fiqh issues. Let me give you an example. In Salah, intention is necessary or no? Definitely it's necessary. In Sawm, fasting, intention is necessary? It's necessary. Is intention effective when you go and gift someone some money? Whether it's zakat or gift or whatever? Intention is effective. So you can see that intention is affecting every matter of your religious life. Everything which is related to religion, the matter of intention is central to it. So in salah, in zakah, in family affairs, in business, in everything, intention is very important. And based on the intention you are rewarded or punished in the hereafter. So this shows that there is a similarity between all the actions, that intention is effective. So they come out after studying all these detailed issues, they come out with the principle that al-umuru bi-maqasidiha, that deeds are judged based on intentions. This is a principle which is considered to be a fiqh principle, or one of the qawaid of fiqh. Al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya includes major maxims and minor maxims. In the major maxims you have al-umuru bi-maqasidiha, that these are based on intentions. Then you have minor maxims like al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha. The original law for every existing thing is that it is lawful. So this is a minor maxim. The major maxims and minor maxims. Amongst the major maxims you have لا ضرر ولا ضرار, that there shouldn't be any harming or counter-harming in your attitude. This is a major principle. So you have major principles and minor principles. Amongst the major principles you have al-yaqeen la yazulu bi-shakk, that certainty is not removed by doubtfulness. This is a major maxim, a major principle, a major amongst the Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya. So if a person is certain that he got married, Because he's having some doubts, he cannot say that I divorced my wife. Because you are certain about the contract, you know that you did it, but you are uncertain about the divorce. So you are still considered to be a married person. Your wife is not divorced. So this is al-yaqinu la yazulu bish-shak. This is considered to be a major maxim. So you have major maxims and minor maxims. If you go back to the history of these maxims, al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya is a newly invented subject. It was not existing in the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. It was not existing in the time of Khulafa al-Rashideen. It was not existing in the time of Banu Umayyah, Banu Abbas, Mamluks, and it was not existing at the. But later on the Fuqaha, starting from Al-Dabbas, who was a Hanafi scholar, he started developing these fiqh principles or Qawaid al-Fiqh. It is said that Al-Dabbas was sitting in his mosque in Baghdad. Al-Dabbas was basically a blind man. So he used to be the Imam of his own. This is the man who started the Qawaid al-Fiqh, a blind man. He used to sit in his mosque and used to revise some fiqh issues which he learned after closing the mosque at night. And then based on those many issues which he learned, he will try to make a principle which will include many of those issues which he learned, which will fit in many of those issues based on similarities found in them. So he ended up making 17 principles which were later on called as al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya. And this man was sitting in the mosque. He closed the mosque and he was sitting inside and he was revising these principles with himself. And one of his students, because he wants to discover what the Shaykh is doing, he entered the mosque at night, and because the Shaykh was blind, when the man closed the mosque, he stayed inside and he didn't know that the student is inside. So the student was actually sitting inside to listen. What is this man doing at night in the mosque? So he heard the Shaykh revising with himself these fiqh principles, al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, 16 or 17, whatever. And then, at the center of that, the student started coughing because he got afflicted by something. Here, the Shaykh discovered that, what are you doing here? You are not supposed to be here. Then he was turned out of the mosque at that time. So, this man started this thing, and then afterwards, it started developing amongst the Hanabila, amongst the Maliki, especially Al-Qarafi. He wrote lots of, in the book of Furuq, lots of fiqh principles or Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya. And it reached to its peak in the time of Ottomans. We all know that the Islamic history went into 5 stages. The first is the prophetic stage, the second is the Khulafa al-Rashideen, the third is the Umayyad stage, and then the Abbasid stage, and then the Ottoman stage, which continued for almost 650 years. These Ottomans were the ones who developed this field of knowledge, al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya. They took it to the peak. In fact, they came up with al-Majallah Al Adalliya, which was including many, almost 1,000 principles of fiqh. So the judge is not required to go to Quran now or to Sunnah. These principles are there, which are deduced from Quran and Sunnah. So now he can make quick judgments now, based on the principles which you are having. So they developed this field of knowledge, and now it's studied amongst the circles of knowledge and amongst the students of universities and schools and so on. So let's come to these principles. The first of all these principles is al-umuru bi maqasidiha, that deeds are judged based on intentions. And we know that there is a hadith related to this matter, and these principles are basically coming from a hadith and Quranic verses. And that's why if somebody gives you this principle, it is exactly like giving you a verse. The fuqaha deal with these principles like adillah, like evidences. They will not ask you for further evidence, because they know that these principles are backed up by evidences. So these principles are treated as evidences. So this matter, al-umuru bi maqasidiha. Al-umuru bi maqasidiha, that deeds are based on intention, is effective in dunya and akhirah. We know in the Surah Al-Qalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Ashabul Jannah. The story which is there in Surah Al-Qalam in the 2nd page about Ashabul Jannah, that there were people who were having a garden, who inherited the garden from the father. And these people, when they inherited the garden, they didn't want to give the poor, the destitutes, the needy, any share from the fruits of the garden. They intended this at night, and in the morning the entire garden was destroyed. With the father, for many years the garden continued, but when the children got the garden, because the intention was bad, the entire garden was destroyed. فَطَافَ عَلَيْهَا طَائِفٌ مِّن رَبِّكَ وَهُمْ نَائِمُونَ فَأَصْبَحَتْ كَالصَّرِيمِ. Means an angel was sent by Allah at night when they were sleeping. After having an evil intention, they are sleeping. But Allah sent an angel to destroy the entire garden for them. فَأَصْبَحَتْ كَالصَّرِيمِ means it became totally in a dark state. Means it was totally burnt, so dark that you cannot distinguish between one part of the garden and the other part of the garden. Fully destroyed and burnt by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this shows that intention is effective in our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is also effective in our relation with each other. Intention is always effective. For instance, here we have an example of a luqata. A luqata is a lost property. Something lost in the ground, in the street, you found it. You took it with the intention to find its owner. So now, in this case, because your intention was not to take it as your personal property, it was with the intention to give it back to the person to whom it belongs. So now you are Ameen. Ameen means it's a trust in your hand. What does that imply? If something is a trust in your hand, if it's destroyed or lost, you are not responsible. You are not responsible, except if you personally destroyed it, purposely destroyed it. So if I found this in the street, and I took it with the intention that I'll try to find, because it's close to the center, most probably someone here in the center lost his mobile. With this intention I took it. So this means I am Ameen. Means I am required to give it back to the exact person, or to exert my maximum to find the person to whom it belongs. And in case it's lost from me, I am not responsible, because I am Ameen, I am trustworthy here. But what about a person who took it with an evil intention, to put it in his pocket, to sell it and to benefit from it, not to find its owner? In that case he is ghasib. Both the people are doing the same thing. Both the people are picking something, some lost property from the ground. But the first person picked it with what intention? To return it. The second person picked it with the intention to put it in his pocket and not to return it. In the second case, the person is ghasib, not Ameen. What is ghasib? Ghasib, if he destroys that lost property, or if it's lost, he is responsible, he has to pay it back. He is responsible. This is in dunya. And in akhirah, Allah will deal with him. So see, intention is very effective. If a person is doing anything, the intention which is behind that action is very effective in all the matters which a person does. We also have an example here about a person who gets married, for instance. If a person gets married, for instance, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to protect himself, for instance, from the evils of this dunya, such a person is rewarded. But what if a person gets married just to revenge from the family of that woman, trouble the family of the tribe of that woman? So this is because the intention is evil. Now the rewards will be cancelled. In fact, the person will be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تُمْسِكُوهُنَّ ضِرَارًا لِتَعْتَدُوا. That do not keep your women in your guardianship just to harm them. This is something which they used to do in Jahiliyyah. If they want to harm someone, they will keep the women in the custody, in the guardianship, not giving them the rights, but they are still married. So this thing is forbidden in the Quran, because the intention in this case is not proper, it's an improper intention. Okay, amongst the fuqaha also speak about a matter that when they speak about al-umur bi maqasidiha, that intention, mere intention, plain intention will not be effective in our worldly actions. For instance, I have a property. I'm having an intention to sell it to Sheikh Tahir. This intention will not be effective unless I go and sit with him and I make a contract with him. If I made a contract, then he has the right to claim it. It's my duty to give it, hand it over to him. So mere intention is not effective unless a contract is made in in the worldly matters. If I have an intention, it's not effective. I cannot say to a person, because I have an intention to sell my properties to so and so person, that I cannot make any contract with other people. That could be a taqwa, a level of taqwa, a level of zuhud, a level of tazkiyah. That's possible, but he's not obliged to maintain the intention which he's having. He can go and make the contract with any other person, as long as he didn't give any word, nor he made any practical contract. So this was the first qaida which we have.